because together we have the power to make a difference.
This message brought to you by Cumberland Electric Membership Corporation.
Hi, this is Jonathan with the LaFavor Quartet. You're listening to Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky's new home of great gospel music, 7 days a week. WSGI AM 1100 Springfield, God's Informer.
One street over there's a life I could have known, one beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold, but things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known, that would have kept me from the one I have today. Times gone by, I've traded black dirt into clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known, that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Oh, let me go ahead and interrupt the guys. This is 1100 WSG. I'm U-Turn LaVern, and yes. You know what we're doing. This is one street over. What's going on? One street over from where you living. Well, if you're here, as we love to quote Mayor Vogel, we get to live and work in Robeson County. So, man, we are blessed and highly favored. Amanda Fields is with me this morning. She is with White House Heritage Elementary. And my goodness, you're just a bright and beautiful sight this morning in that suit.
You.
It's so funny. Turn that microphone where you're talking right in the front of it. But it's so funny. The first thing she said, I said, "Oh, you look so beautiful today." And I'm in here in my Greenbrier t-shirt. And she says, "Well, I'm changing before I go to school."
You can't go to elementary school wearing a suit and heels.
That's hysterical, but you do look lovely.
Thank you. I appreciate
It's
it.
so good to have you here. You're the first, right out of the gate.
All right.
Mr. Jim Bellis, our communications director, he said, "You know, we did that last year, and that worked so good. Can we do that again?" And what we're talking about is having the principals from all of our schools, because do you know how many we have, elementaries and high schools?
22, I think.
Something
21,
like that.
22, something like that.
There's a bunch. So when it comes to, I grew up in a district, I'm from Western Kentucky, the Mayfield area, Graves County. And when I was a kiddo in the 60s and 70s, we still had all the smaller schools. I went to Lowe's High School, and it was K through, we didn't have a kindergarten when I was a kid. It was 1st through 12th. And then they consolidated, and some of the schools remained elementaries,
Right.
and then we have Graves County High School.
School.
It's all consolidated. That hasn't happened here, and I don't see it ever happening. I really don't.
I don't either.
I don't see how you could do it at this point. But that does happen a lot of the times in these smaller, in these rural counties would be, it's not small, Robertson isn't, but in a lot of rural counties that will happen. But we're booming so much with our proximity to Nashville there's no way
Right.
you could do. Can you imagine how big
No.
the county school would be if we consolidated to one county school?
I cannot, and I don't know that the individual communities would be in favor of something
No.
like that.
Not at all. And that's something I talk about, just the camaraderie in the family. I was talking about that with somebody yesterday that's moving to Robertson, about the different areas and the different just that family feel in the communities, and White House Heritage is, of course, one of those.
And we're just booming with
We
our
really
proximity
are.
to the
Yeah.
interstate.
Yeah.
A
Oh,
lot
my
of people,
goodness.
live in White House and work
Yeah.
elsewhere.
Yes.
So our community is flourishing.
Yes, it is. So
We
how
are full.
And again, I think I said this is Amanda Fields. She is our principal at White House Heritage Elementary. So you have
I have 3rd through 6th grade at my
third through
school.
6. So where do the kids before third go?
Robert F. Woodall is the pre-K through 2nd grade.
That feeds White
That
House
feeds my
Heritage.
school, and then they
Okay.
go for 7th through 12th at White House Heritage High School.
Right, right. See, and it's just, and they're all different. The different districts, just like we have at Greenbrier, we have our middle school that's separate and apart from us, and we're just the high school. But then we have Watauga, and there's a Greenbrier Elementary, that both feed Greenbrier Middle and High
Right.
School.
Right.
So it's just interesting, and the way you navigate these waters, man, you have to. I mean, it's a lot. I talk to Mayor Vogel all the time about all the cities that are in our county. There's a lot going on in Robertson County, and so that spills over into our schools. So that's why we have 22 different principals we're going to be talking to. And I'm not talking vice principals. We're talking to the principals, and then you have under you, how many vice principals do you
I just have one.
that's
I
what I
just
kinda
have one.
figured.
I have almost 700 kids
Okay.
at White House Heritage Elementary. We're sitting at about 670 right now.
Okay.
Of course, that being in a
Oh,
school
yeah.
that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
flourish varies day to day.
Oh, yeah.
But we're sitting at about 670 right now. My assistant principal is Kayla Sarles. It's her first year.
Oh, fun.
She came to us actually from Greenbrier Middle School. She's taught her whole career there at
Okay.
Greenbrier Middle, and this is her first year as an assistant principal. So
Well, congratulations. We
doing a
hate to
great
lose
job.
the Bobcat, though. I'm just saying.
I was a Bobcat.
Yeah,
I was
you
a
know, we had
Bobcat
that
as well.
conversation. That's
We
right.
did.
And what did you do at Greenbrier? You were
I taught English. I
taught
taught 11th
English.
and 12th grade English. I graduated from Greenbrier as well.
look at you. I love it. I love it. I had forgotten about all that. And we got
Yep.
Miss Grimes doing probably what you were doing.
She
I'm
actually was
thinking.
across the hall from me,
Yeah.
and we worked together for several years. But yes, because she taught English, and I also did the yearbook when I was there, and she does that as well.
She took that on.
So,
yeah, and she's our big Renaissance.
Yes, she does a lot of
champion.
fabulous
That's crazy.
things.
Yeah, I know it's good stuff. But this is all what's going on in Robertson County. And one of the questions I always like to ask our principals when they come in is, what are you most proud of at your school?
Well, I'm proud of a lot of things. We got a lot of great things going on. Of course, my students first and foremost. My students are great. Like I said, we're 3rd through 6th grade, so that's kind of a transition period at most of the schools in Robertson County. You're in the same elementary school the whole time. So for my 3rd graders, there's only one other area. Of course, West Side, Cheatham Park. That's the other school. That's a K2 and then they're 3-5 at Cheatham Park.
Okay.
But that's a big transition when you're 8 years old to come over. And so my 3rd graders are settling in and getting used to that transition and how we do things differently. We've got a fabulous group of faculty and staff at Heritage. A lot of veterans. I also have some new folks this year, and they're settling in great. We have several that transferred to us from other schools in the county. We've got some new teachers that came to us from Sumner County this year. And that's kind of pretty common on my side because we're right there straddling the Sumner County line.
Yeah.
So we often get applicants from Sumner County or just looking for a change for whatever reason. So great faculty. And I never want to forget to talk about my parents, my PTO.
Oh, yeah.
We have, I'm going to say, the best PTO in Robertson County.
I don't know. We got pretty good
In
one at
Heritage
Greenbrier.
Elementary.
See, it's real hard for me. I got to quit doing that. It's like I have these other ones come in. They go, "We got this one." I'm like, "Well, Greenbrier."
Well,
So
and
gotta
I
quit
get it.
doing
I
that.
get it.
But I'm a Bobcat, but no, I know what you mean.
Yes.
We love our PTOs.
Our
They're so
PTO,
good.
they work so hard. We've got our first PTO meeting coming up, and of course they do Student of the Month. That's a big thing at elementary
Oh,
school, and that night we'll do our presentation for 3rd grade parents about that 3rd grade promotion law. my PTO right now. I mean, they're already hitting the ground running. We've got our chocolate fundraiser kickoff coming up. That's really the only fundraiser we do is selling the chocolate bars. You know, everybody loves the chocolate bars. So, of course, we've got that. They're planning a career day right before fall break. And I know some people kind of laugh and think, well, you're in elementary school. Why are you doing a career day? But like you just said before we started, it's never too early to expose them to all the things out there. So we'll have folks coming in from the community to talk about careers and kind of get those kids thinking about what comes next as they grow up.
Well, and I'll just tell you, the reason why when I came in and we first walked up and started talking, I had a book in my ear, and it's all about archaeological stuff. And I mentioned to Miss Fields that if I had known what I know now, I would probably be in archaeology. It is just an incredible passion for me. But I wasn't exposed to those things growing up. And I had been exposed to it going to the cliff dwellings as a child on vacation out west, but I didn't know it was a career path that I could really pursue. And that's one of the things. When you get these kids early on, if somebody had come to me in elementary and go, what do you really want to do? I'd have been like, I want to go dig in the dirt, man. Truly.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, honestly, I'd probably be living in Israel or, someplace exotic. I don't know. I don't know what, the Lord takes you where he takes you, but I don't think you can start too early with these kiddos and show them what's available.
Right.
Sky's the limit now.
And we try to, get in people from various things, trade occupations.
Yeah.
Occupations that require a degree, all kinds of different things to expose them to that. And that'll be, it's that Friday right before fall break. So it's, it's a fun day. We'll just certainly do academics. We're always going to do that. That's, my alarm telling me I need to make announcements. I'm not at school to make announcements.
Somebody's doing that for her.
Yes, they are. But, we'll have all kinds of things, and they'll kind of rotate through and meet different people and have opportunities to ask questions and learn about different careers. From our third grade to our sixth grade, they'll all be participating that day.
So what kind of things? I mean, can you give me some examples? You're going to have some medical people. You're going to have people from like aviation.
Well,
I know, flight's been something we've really been pushing.
PTO plans it, but yes, they'll have
the details.
They'll have all of those different things. They bring in, we do some inside stuff and some outside stuff. So they'll bring in, police and EMT and fire and that kind of thing. Cause the kids, even third grade through sixth grade, they love those trucks.
Oh yeah.
They love those
trucks.
They love those vehicles.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, we'll put out to the community. So bankers and hairstylists and, electricians, like I said, all kinds of different careers that they can learn about that they may or may not have any exposure to.
Right. I love it. I think it's wonderful. I think it's just absolutely wonderful. Anything we can do to just kind of broaden their horizons. And I mean, like I said, sky's the limit. You can learn anything. And I just love it. Now, you mentioned, just kind of to change avenues for a second, you mentioned that you should be doing announcements right now. What time is yours? Because that's another thing about our district, school start times. It's just all over the place, and the reason why. Buses. My husband, they have been recruiting teachers like crazy to drive buses. They're like, you can drive a bus, choose your school, park it there, and teach, and then you can drive, and they need that. And so that's what my husband's been doing, just because they need bus drivers so much. But that's the reason you have all these staggered start times. What time do you guys start?
So my doors open at 6:45.
Wow.
School starts at 7:15. So we're 7:15 to 2:15.
Oh, wow. See, that you have to be able to do that. So your kids are getting picked up so early.
Some of them are, yes, ma'am.
I
I
know.
mean, I would say some of them get picked up prior to 6 a.m.
Oh, we've got my husband on the route he's running, because he runs a Coopertown route and then picks up a high school route, because Coopertown feeds Springfield. So he takes some of the younger kids, and then he goes and picks up high school kids. But he's got a young man on our road that he picks up, I'm wanting to say about 5:45. That's early. And I know
It is.
I grew up so rural that I was one of the first pickups when I was on the bus, and I was on the bus for an hour.
And probably a last drop off.
Oh,
A lot of times first pickup is last drop off.
Absolutely. That's the way it works. But that's what you have to do to get these kiddos in. Do you have a lot of car riders?
I do. Now, some elementary schools, I've worked at a couple of different elementary schools in Roberts County and elsewhere. And my school, we probably have more car riders than any other elementary school I've personally worked at. We have a lot.
That doesn't surprise me, really.
Well, it doesn't. And also, we had with the rezone last year, if those families chose to stay at my school, and a lot of my families did choose to stay, they have to provide their own transportation. Bus transportation is no longer provided because they're not in our zone.
Right.
So that added some additional car riders that I did not have in previous years.
Yeah, and that was going to. I figured that as much because once you've got a kid, we had a redistricting. My some of my grandkids are out in Mountain Juliet in that district, and the same thing happened to them. They're in this really tight little knit community, and they did a redistricting. And my grandson and granddaughter were going to be sent to a different school, but they had the opportunity to petition to stay, but then they had to transport. And so, and I think they've pretty much been car riders forever anyway. Some parents just do that. They got their Mimi. They're Mimi and their Aunt Tay-Tay take care of them. When you've got that family support, you get things done. But but that they had the same situation. So I knew your car rider line would get much longer.
It's a lot. It's a lot of cars.
And I know y'all have some traffic issues and lane issues and all of that. They're trying to.
We do because we're right there on 76.
Yeah, and they're trying to address that. Y'all got a turning lane though, right? Or not yet?
Not on my end. Okay. They've done all that construction down on, towards the high school. They put in that new stoplight there at Pleasant Grove, but that hasn't really impacted us. Because, we're on right past the Sonic there in White House. It's where you turn to go to my school. And a lot of my families drop off at Woodall and at my school. So they're in two car rider lines, or my school and, the high school. Yeah. So we have a lot of, especially those rezone folks, they, again, don't have a choice. Yeah. They have to provide that. And some of them did have several children. Well, in the same families.
Your city manager, he comes on once a month now, and we've talked a lot about trying to alleviate the traffic situations around the schools, especially.
It's rough. Now,
it's a challenge, but they're working on it.
I get to school at before 6 a.m. Yeah. So, people talk about the traffic and I'm like, I can't even comprehend how bad it is because I'm never driving at that time. Yeah. I'm not driving at pickup or drop off. I'm at school. But yes, we do have some significant traffic issues right there because they back on up out onto 31 because our car rider comes in from that side.
Oh, I can imagine.
So, yeah, it's backed up both sides coming in and going out.
Well, they're talking about it. I'll just say I can attest to that because those are conversations we've been having at your because they have their mayor and alderman meetings and all that, and they come in like a little bit after that, and we've been hearing a lot about the traffic issues. And y'all are in the middle of a new census in your area in White House because they don't believe you were properly counted, and so they're trying to recount you guys because so much has grown. There was one of the housing areas out there that have zero, and there's so many there, and so they're trying to recount to where they can get some more funds, and maybe they can do some of the help with the traffic. Maybe some of that will spill over into getting you guys your turn.
That would be great.
I know you need it.
Now, while they were doing it, though, that would be crazy.
Ooh,
when they were doing road construction, but.
Do those things in the summer.
Sure.
Anyway, we're talking about all things Robertson County Schools. Once a month, we'll be meeting with the principals, and as I was talking with Ms. Fields, about 22 different principals we'll meet with. We've got Jill Reeves coming up in just a moment. She'll be in here at 7:30. But before we finish our time together, we got about 10 minutes. Is there anything that I haven't mentioned that you're like, okay, we got to cover this?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things I think that my parents are most excited about is that the school board has been talking about the potential construction of a middle school in our area. So I know that's kind of a big thing people are talking about, ramping up into athletic season. So that's always exciting in all the zones. You wouldn't think for elementary school that would be a big deal, but our sixth graders participate on the athletic teams at Heritage High, which is only fair. If they were at a traditional middle school, they'd have their own teams. So my kids go over there. They're playing football and basketball and volleyball. They're cheering, all the things. So this is just, back to school is just an exciting time of the year. It is busy and it is stressful and it is a lot, but it is super exciting. Just watching the kids get in there and see what we do. Like I said, especially our little third graders coming over. And most kids, the third graders are not the little ones, but at my school, of course, they are. And they're just excited, and we want them to keep that. We want to foster that. We've got a lot of good things going on at Heritage. Like I mentioned, my PTO is just top notch, doing all the exciting things and providing a lot of opportunities for our students. We are working hard. We've made some changes this year. You know, our schedule changed because the state passed that recess law where the students get the 40 minutes of recess. So we had to, of course, make some pretty big changes to our schedule to make that work. And you know, they're just packed. We're moving. We're shaking all day, every day. And I think we've got a lot of learning and a lot of progress, a lot of good things going on at Heritage, and looking for some good results this year.
You mentioned the recess thing. I see that a lot because I know that was impactful with my grandkids. And so they're kind of going to a 20-minute session. How do y'all work that?
For most of our grades, that is what we're doing, 2 20-minute sessions. You know, especially there's that sweet spot in Tennessee where the weather would be great and staying outside for 40 minutes, like right now outside.
Man, wouldn't it be
But,
right?
you know, for a long time at the beginning of the year, especially if you're afternoon recess, and then in the winter when it's cold and they're still going out, you don't really want to be outside for 40 straight minutes.
Right.
So that kind of breaks the day up with those 2 20-minute sessions where they kind of get out, get that energy out, run around, and then come back in and ready to hit the learning again. So yes, for most of our grades and classes, it is 2 20-minute sessions. But then, of course, we also have PE in our related arts rotation, so they're getting a significant amount of physical activity.
And I think a lot of that comes from just these things. I mean, so many of our kids are on screens now,
Right.
so much. And some just, I'm getting the high school kids, and, you know, audio video touches every aspect of their life. And so that's why I love doing the program. But seeing how little real activity some of these kids are getting, it is, I think that's why they're doing it, is just to push.
Sure.
You got to get these kids moving. And so I get it.
And
get it,
there's
but I
a
know
lot
it's
of-
got to be a challenge trying to get all the academic work in. Whoa.
There's a lot of, there's a lot of research around
Yeah.
the recess and showing improved results with learning. I hesitate to say test scores because it's not just test scores, just learning generally, and that social interaction piece, which we know is so important for our students. That I think the social media and devices have cut down on the social interactions a little bit, as like when I was young. But so we do try to provide that within the school day. But like you said, it is difficult to kind of work that puzzle of making the required, ELA and math minutes work
It's a lot.
with the
a
recess
lot.
minutes.
You've
It is a puzzle, and bless Lewis Walling there at Central Office. He really helped us with our schedule this year to kind of figure that out and make it work, because I also have the unlike the other schools, 6th grade in that building, which is a whole different type of schedule than elementary runs. So I run an elementary school schedule in my building and a middle school schedule in my building. So that's a little bit different from everybody else.
Yeah. I'll just think, I had no idea that there was that kind of a.
Yes, the learning minutes required for middle school are
Yikes.
different, and the recess requirement is not there for middle school either. The physical activity, so they do get 4 days of PE, but the recess requirement isn't there for middle school grades.
They're having to start getting their math stuff together and getting ready for the whole concept of end of course testing and
Right.
da 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 da. And of course, then you also have your 3rd graders that have got to
The
meet
promotion
those,
law.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yes,
Just come into the classroom.
So
and,
my school,
and walk the walk
yeah.
teachers walk. You
My
have
school is
no idea.
My school is a little different from the rest of the schools
your
in the
heart.
county because of that.
Oh yeah.
And I think people don't think about
Oh, I do.
all those different items.
That's one thing. Until you have worked until you've worked in the education field, you just have no idea. And it's just what we have developed into. There was a lot of paperwork. They're like, why do you have all these principles? I'm like, you have no idea how much paperwork, how many observations that have to happen, how many this and how many that, and it's all mandated by the state for your teacher's license by the state. So that is why. And it is a lot.
I'm doing my first observation today.
I bet you are. My husband and I had that conversation last night. He goes, I got my email saying, get ready for my first observation. I said, I'm kind of surprised I haven't already gotten mine.
Well,
but
you
I
know,
will be.
I told my teachers I typically don't start till after Labor Day, and I had one of my teachers. She said, "You know what? Go ahead and come and do it. Let's go ahead and do it." And so, like I said, I have a brand new assistant principal. We're doing it together.
You
know,
go.
so we can kind of work together and calibrate and make sure we're on the same page. So, yep, we'll do that as soon as I get back to school at 8:30 this morning.
I love it. I love it. It's great. And I'm smiling, guys. I love what I do. Don't take all this the struggles that we're talking about to be anything other than it's worth it every single minute.
100%.
How long have you been in education? We haven't asked
23 years.
Oh, bless you. That's wonderful. And we were talking. So I talked to so many different principals and stuff. I forget everybody's pathway, but you were a Bobcat.
Yep.
And so, did you graduate from Greenbrier?
I did, yes.
So,
ma'am.
you came right back here? Or did you teach in another district?
Nope. I went to Austin P, and then I came back and taught at Greenbrier High, 11th to 12th grade English. And then I was a graduation coach for Robertson County, so I worked at all the high schools. Then I did go to Dixon County, and then came back. And I was assistant principal at Kreisel Elementary and Springfield High.
Okay.
So I've been all over.
Did Dr. Weeks recruit you to Dixon?
I did go to Dixon County when Dr. Weeks left in 2012 is when I went. And I was assistant principal at White Bluff Elementary there.
It's so funny. We got him home, and we got some other folks coming home
and
with
here
him.
I am back.
I love it. I love it. It's so much fun. I bet you knew Muriel Barnett. You know Muriel?
I did. We worked together at Greenbrier High.
Yeah, she's one of my very best friends. So she's all retired. Well, she was at White House Heritage High School teaching math until she finally hung up her teaching tenure and has retired.
Yeah,
I've been trying to talk her. I said, we need you, Muriel.
She could
we need
sub.
She's. I've taught, and she's loving retirement. She's
I don't blame her.
Stop it, LaVern. She's like, shut up. But we just need teachers so much.
We do.
I have a young, recent graduate at Greenbrier. A couple of years, was the year before last, I guess. And she is decided she's going into education. I'm like, good. Check into the Grow Your Own program because we have that going on.
It is a fabulous program. I have two
is.
Grow Your Own folks at my school right now, one in 5th grade and one in special education.
Oh,
and, I'm always like, so when you finish, you're going to come right back here. And they're absolutely, Miss Fields, we are.
I love it.
So, and I hired my new CDC teacher this year came from the Grow Your Own program.
Okay.
So,
okay. Very good. Very good. I love it. And that's a program, guys. You need to call central office and ask them about it if you're wanting to go into education. Some of the kids, they'll get scholarshiped out of. Hannah Martin is one that I've just have been so impressed with. I mean, I think she's about certified and about ready to go. I was talking to her brother the other day, and I just know her family. I never really got to know Hannah. You don't have Hannah, do you? Okay. But she scholarshiped from high school into the Grow Your Own program. But how are you as far as your staff? Are you fully staffed?
Fully staffed.
Okay,
I actually have a new, let me back. I am fully staffed, except we're able to add a new that just posted last week, special education assistant position. Gotcha. So it just posted, I believe, last Thursday. So we are currently taking applications for that, and I will be hiring a new assistant.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, it sounds like you guys have got it going on, and I'm so excited about the development of new facilities out that way, and I'll really talk to your city manager and be like, I need a turning lane. Come on. We'll talk about that.
That would be great.
I'll tease him. I'll reach out to him and say, by the way, go and listen to this interview and see what Ms. Phillips.
Oh, I'm sure he knows.
Oh, I know he knows because we've discussed how the one that they've gotten has made a difference.
Right.
And so we've had those conversations. Anything that we're forgetting?
I don't think so. Like I said, we're just excited to get into this new year.
Yeah, it is fun. It is fun. I'm so glad to get to talk to you right out of the gate. And again, you were just a bright, wonderful blessing coming through. We love it. I'm pretty much dressed down, so when somebody can brighten up the video for us, that's always good. But yeah, you got to change before you go see the elementary kids. So good to see you.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Thank you so much. And I'll let you make your way out.
All right.
And then we have got Jill Reeves coming in. She'll be here in just a moment. But Amanda Fields, principal at White House Heritage Elementary, doing a great job. And we're excited to have all of you guys part of the Robertson County community.
We appreciate it.
God bless you.
Thank you.
I'll let y'all make the switch. And
All
while
right.
y'all doing that, I'm going to go ahead and talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards. Yeah, just head on out. Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. You know what we're talking about. They are just the best when it comes to working with anybody in real estate. I had to brag on, I pulled up Barry's page yesterday because I wanted to see what he was. I pulled up Rebecca's a lot, but I pulled up Barry's Facebook page, and they were on the news. They were on Channel 2. Come on in. They were on Channel 2 last week because they were talking about how that they had given this smart car to the folks at Cross Plains Police. They were taking and just kind of honoring the fact they've been in Cross Plains. Go ahead and sit down. They were in Cross Plains now for 30 years. And so they, gifted this cool little smart car to the police, the police department there in the city of Cross Plains. And so it was on Channel 2. And if you go to Barry's page, you can find that Exit Prime Realty, Barry and Rebecca Richards. They both have it on their page. But it's a fun little story. Go check out. And you will also see all the great listings that they have. I was talking about a really beautiful home that they have up in Orlando. One of my favorite places. We'll be talking about Bernard Farms here in just a minute up in Orlando. But there's a great little home in Orlando that's available, if it's still available. But the big things, they've got one up here, Cedar Hill Road in Scottsville, Kentucky, that they've just put up as well. That's one thing about them. They specialize in Robertson County properties, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky, because I've got a friend of mine. I was having a conversation with them the other day, and I did not realize. I knew they had moved, but I had not realized that they had bought across the state line. She goes, I can just get so much more home up there. It was more budget friendly for them. But the thing you've got to keep in mind is that you can work in Tennessee, but if you're in a state that has an income tax, a state income tax, you've got to bring that into your budget overall picture, and that will help you determine how much home you can buy. So there's just all of those things that Barry and Rebecca are expert at. They are also expert at mentoring you into the real estate business if you want to be a realtor. But Barry is famous for saying, but I may talk you out of it, because I'm going to be super honest with you about everything you're getting into. And you may say it's not for you. They're going to make sure that if it is something that you think is for you, it will be, and they're going to give you all the ins and outs of it. I just pulled up Rebecca's page too while I was kind of scrolling through here, and she's got different listings than Barry. That's something that they mentioned to me. We talk about them partnering and helping each other, but they're kind of in competition with each other too. She's a realtor up in White House, and he is the broker here in Springfield. They combined those two offices to bring you Exit Prime Realty, a new branch in the Exit tree. They've been with Exit from the very get-go. So the same great team, but just great to work with them. You can give them a call. Here's Rebecca's number, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. Or you can go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, robertsoncounty.com, and always let them know U-Turn sent you. And I could talk on and on about them, but I need to talk to my friend Jill Reeves is here.
Good
How
morning.
are you doing? Lean on into that microphone for me. Principal at Bransford Early Learning School and Early Learning Coordinator. Do I have it right?
That's right.
Okay. And I love it because she goes, here's some things I want to talk about tomorrow. It's just so funny. But, and so how are you doing this morning?
Doing great.
And what time does your school start? Because I was having that conversation with Miss Fields a minute ago.
Yes, we open our doors for bus riders at 6:45.
Okay.
So it's really early.
Yeah.
But
I thought the little one's going in early.
Yes.
Yeah. I wonder, that just kind of surprises me. I don't know.
well, we do that at our school so that our students leave earlier
Yeah.
than anyone else. They leave at 1:00.
Okay.
If you are not in kindergarten through 12th grade, you don't have to stay the full 7 hours that a student day. So at our school is only pre-K in our building, so they go home. We do not have a nap time at our building.
Okay.
They go home if they need a nap,
got
and they go home whether they need a nap or not, but they nap at home.
There you go.
We do not hold them at school for the required nap time because they're not at school long enough. They don't breach that time frame that we have to offer one. And then the buses run their routes, and then they go into the other schools and pick up.
It's a logistics thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I was mentioning to Ms. Fields that my husband's driving now. He teaches full time. I mean, he is a criminal justice teacher at Springfield, but he is starting his route. They pick up their first kid up that goes to Coopertown at 5:45, does a middle school route, and then I guess I don't know if he's middle school. Do we have a Coopertown Elementary?
Yes, we do.
He may be doing an elementary. I'm not sure because there's Coopertown Elementary and trying to get all the ins and outs of the schools, but that's neither here nor there. And then he picks up a high school route.
Right.
So he does 2 routes in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, and a lot of bus drivers are doing that. I think some do 3.
Yes.
Because we're so short on bus drivers, and so they're really pushing to recruit teachers to drive buses.
Right.
They need them, and it makes sense. It works really well for a lot of teachers, and I've
Yes.
seen more and more picking that up. Do you have any teachers that are driving?
We do not. No.
We
do not.
You might mention it too.
Well, we do, and we talk about it a lot, and we recognize the problem that is, short-staffed.
Yeah.
That's a problem, and but we do not have any at our school that are doing it. But I do know teachers across the district. One of our good friends, Daniel Rushing, is driving a bus now before and after school.
And
He's a
it's
teacher at
extra
Coopertown
income,
Middle.
and that's nice. It's good.
Right.
It's just a win-win across the board. Now, as far as staffing, how are you doing on staffing? Are you full staffed?
We are fully staffed.
Awesome.
And everybody returned to our school.
Oh.
Yeah. We had 2 openings, but we filled them with people who had done long time leaves last year. So we didn't have to interview
great.
anybody. They had a on the job interview last year.
That's great.
This was a wonderful summer as it pertains to not having to worry about staffing problems.
Yeah, because that's a constant. That's
Yes.
a constant thing. Having to watch at our school up at Greenbrier, the ones that was like, "You're leaving," because they get recruited to other districts.
Yes.
We lost Miss Latham that's just been with us forever and got recruited to a district in Nashville, and it's just, she's just like, I can't, because it's in a high demand thing. You just, sometimes you get an offer you just can't hardly refuse. It's great for your family, and you just you hate it, but because we love all of our teachers, but we've had quite a few that we've had to replace, but we've got some great new ones too that have come in. So that's just a constant thing. So how many? So how big is your school? How many kids do you have?
We have currently. Well, we have 10 classrooms that our district provides for Robertson County.
Okay.
7 of them are voluntary pre-K classes.
Right.
And that is a program that is a state program, and it is designed to provide preschool opportunities for children who cannot afford private preschool. So it is an income-based program. We have 7 of those classrooms. We have 2 blended program classrooms, and that is where it is, we call them 619 classes, but it's considered a general education setting. The teacher in both of those classrooms, those teachers are dually actually they have 3 certifications. They're certified in general education, in special education, and in early childhood. So they're the expertise that they have is amazing.
That's awesome.
But those classes are 50% students with a disability and 50% students who do not have a disability.
Wow.
So it's an inclusion program where, children learn from each other as they play. If they have a language delay and they're around other children who do not have a language delay, they really learn and pick up skills quickly from their peers. So we have 2 of those classrooms, and then we have 1 classroom that is a developmental classroom where they have the most significant needs in our of children in our school, and so they are working on skills to develop recognizing their name, and when you say their name, looking at you, eye contact, holding that attention, those pre-learner behaviors and skills that are necessary for you to learn something new. So developing those pre-learner skills.
So very good, very good. And I love that y'all have those opportunities. But now you were telling me when you sent my note yesterday that you do have some open seats.
Yes.
Because you're at that point where once you've filled all the needs as far as the income base, people who are not income based that would like a seat have a waiting list, right? So how does that work?
So our portal for the next year opens on March 1st. And at that point, anyone can apply for the voluntary pre-K class. But if they do not qualify based on their family's income, if they are over income, we can, the state allows us to formulate a list of families, a waiting list. Once we have the opportunity to try to find those families that do qualify and fill those spots first, if we have extra seats, we can open it up to children whose families do not qualify based on their income. Now, the state does not allow us, even when we fill them with families of children that are over income, our funding is based on the number of families that are under the income guidelines to fill the spots. So we are currently looking for children with families who would be under the guideline, and people ask me all the time, what is the guideline? It's different for every family. It's based on the number of people that live in the home, the number of income earning adults that are in the home. So I can't really say like it's this or that. You basically just really have to apply and go through that process with our voluntary pre-K coordinator, Miss Jackie Ballou, and she can help the family and she can determine based on that individual family circumstances if they can have a seat, immediately in the pre-K program, or if they would need to be put on a waiting list. And then after the September cutoff, like when we have to, the window of definitely reserving those seats for income eligible families, we can open it up if we choose to families who are over income. We just don't get funding for,
That's rough.
it is.
Yeah, if you have too much of that, that could get painful very quickly.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And so we are about half full this year. We have never, we have never been looking at the calendar saying September next week and been half full.
Wow.
We need families that are out there to apply. Well, and if you think you might, just apply.
Yeah, because guys, instead of daycare,
it's free.
And your kids are getting direct instruction to get them ready for school. That's a no-brainer.
From a certified teacher, not just an employee that wants to work with young children, but they have a college degree, they have a certification in general education and in early childhood if they are teaching at Bransford in the VPK program. They also have a teacher assistant in the classroom that has their CDA, which is a child development accreditation, and that is a standard across the world for people who don't have a degree, who do not have a teaching certificate, but all of our teacher assistants at Bransford have that CDA. So that's a certification that's not related to going to college to get a degree, but it's an extra certification that they have attained to learn about children in early childhood.
Very good. This is a no-brainer, guys. If you have, maybe you know a neighbor and they're struggling, and they just, that's one of the main things we need to talk about. And one of the main things you mentioned is because you just don't really understand the significance of what this means for the program. The funding for the program, is bottom line. Because when you talk about the ones that you're not going to get funding for, about how many can you handle budgetarily before it becomes a problem? Do you have a number?
I don't personally have a number. We've never been here in this situation. That is something that I'm sure if we don't get an influx of applications, we have put out the call on social media. We have our district, Dr. Weeks has sent out phone calls to every family in our district that has students already enrolled for younger siblings, to tell your neighbors, your church members, to get the word out that we have had. The application process never closes. It opens for the next year on March 1st, but it never closes. We will place children in our program through May 1st for that year. Even if they only get, a month of school, we would place them. And so we have really, really tried to get the word out. We've had 8 in-person opportunities for families who do not have access to a computer. You can apply on your phone. And most everybody has that. But if you don't understand the process, we've opened up our computer lab 8 times. You can walk in any day at Bransford. We have our Miss Adriana Salas is our registration guru in our office. She will walk any family through that process. You do not if you want to call ahead for an appointment, that would be great. But we will definitely take walk-ins, and you might have to wait a little while if she's translating. She's also our school translator, but we're going to get to you and we're going to help you. And so we just really need families to prioritize preschool.
Okay, we need to mention this to. I mean, I feel like you probably have a lot of non-English speakers maybe that are not getting the word. And so, I mean, truly, we need to, we need to get you on WDBL to talk about this.
We would love that. We would love to.
Yeah. And because, we've got the Spanish side of the radio station, so we need to be talking about that over there. And, I mean, that's one thing, just like the manufacturing facilities, Electrolux, and different ones, if you just, maybe message to the employees are, you having some childcare issues. This is something.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. If that's what I'm just thinking.
I'm going to share that.
Yeah. Because you could reach out to, especially Electrolux, because I know, and I don't really know about I know more about Electrolux because my husband was there for a while. Right. And I do know they have a lot of not non-English speakers, but maybe not, that's not their first language. And I've worked with a lot of immigrants, and a lot of the plants like that are one of their first jobs.
Yes.
And they don't get the message.
Right.
They just are trying to, get their head in the game, and they just don't get the message. So, man, reach out, because I'm thinking, do you have a lot of ELLs in your program?
Yes, about half of our population is they are learning English as a second language. That has been the case always.
Okay.
In the 10 years that I've been at Bransford, it's been about half. Yeah. The difference this year is our half is half.
Yeah.
Because there's low enrollment overall, but still, our enrollment is still today about half.
Okay. Well, because in some of the notes that you mentioned from yesterday, the role of language development and learning to read, that's not just an ELL thing. That's just the mastering speaking to people and learning to read. And these things hurt them.
Yes.
Because they're, how many of us see kids on these things? And I get it. If I were raising my kids and, and they were screaming in Walmart, I'd be here, handing them something just to get them quiet. But it's unfortunate that that's what we've turned to, because they've become so addicted to it and they're not learning to converse. I've got a kid in one of my classes right now. He's a Hispanic kid, and I thought he was a non-English speaker. He's so quiet.
Yeah.
His English is fine. It took me a minute. But he doesn't have a language barrier at all. He just is silent.
Yeah.
And some of them are shy, that happens. But I think a lot of it's just he hasn't been required to, he's a freshman.
Yeah.
It hasn't been required of him to converse. And trying to get them to talk and read and do all those things, man, it's a challenge.
It really is a challenge. And, we always go back to research-based practices when we're planning professional development or thinking about instructional practices that we're going to do at our school and in all of our schools in Robertson County. And there, we go back to the science of reading research. And what that means for Bransford, since we're all preschool, is we're on that end of Scarborough's rope. And in your PD, you might have heard about that, or maybe not, since you're a vocational teacher. But, there's this Scarborough's rope, and the end of the beginning of the rope, which is where we are, with the young children. It's based on age. You kind of progress through the rope comes together. The strands of the rope come together. As a child learns to read. And once those strands are together and looped around each other like a rope, like a multi-strung rope.
I like this analogy. I've never heard it. Okay.
Then a child, those foundations come together and the child is able to read. But for preschool children and toddlers, it's all about listening comprehension. And so if we're not talking to children and if we're not requiring them to talk and communicate back with us, then that's really a challenge at learning to teach them to read. And so we have a lot of professional development about language development, not as it pertains to English learners, but all of our children at Bransford are learning language. They're either learning only English or they're learning English and Spanish as a general rule in our school. So some of them are learning 2 languages. But it all relates to, at this age, listening comprehension. And we worked with someone, I'm an expert, in the field with reading, the science of reading, about 3 years ago, and he said something that really resonated with our staff. He said, young children learn to read not with their eyes, but with their ears.
Oh, really?
We learn to read with our ears. And if you could think back, like I learned to read by listening to records. Remember those record players and you'd get a record with a book every month, like, you could join the club.
I remember those.
And I literally remember after listening to those stories and looking at the pictures and it would tell you when to turn the page, I remember the day when I could look at the words and I knew what they said. Not because I had memorized it. Of course I had memorized it because I'd listened to it so many times. But I literally realized these words that I'm looking at on this page are the exact words that they're saying on the record player. And so that really, really resonated with me, with all of our staff. I heard you speaking about devices, screen time with Miss Amanda as I was sitting out here waiting. And, it really is something. We talk about research. I was just reading some research yesterday about the effects of screen time on language development. And we are seeing, and any speech and language therapist will tell you that not only are we seeing children, because the children that are 4 turning 5 were born in 2021 this year. So not only are we seeing that their articulation is delayed and that they're needing speech, but they're also needing language therapy. And many times, not all the time, but many times it's due to them just not having practice speaking and listening. Because that requires a back and forth with someone. And I think it's a call to us as adults, as educators, to families with parents, guardians, that if we're not, we've got to get children off of devices and into the conversations that we're having. If a child is looking down, you can go to any restaurant, and see, and not just with children, but with adults, there's not interaction going on if screens are out on the table. It's just so important to learning to read because we start with listening and speaking, and we have to give children practice with that. Our research is showing us that children of all ages, adults, are having trouble with sleep deficiencies because of screen time. Anxiety is up, specifically in children. Children that we're seeing the numbers are out the roof of the mental health referrals that we're doing for children in the community and in schools, because children come to us and they're addicted to screens. I know that I can tell you it's a struggle with me to put my phone down and to do what I need to do but I'm a responsible adult and I know better. And I have a little bit more control over my life and my choices than children do. But we're shaping that and we have power to do that. And so we've got to set some parameters. I've recently read, I think it's the American Association of Pediatricians is recommending no screen time for children under age 2. None.
I agree.
And our society is so far from that.
Oh, yeah.
So far off base from that right now. Yeah. And then like for a 3 to 4-year-old, it's like 30 minutes a day. Yeah. And again, that is not the behavior that we're seeing. Right. If you look around the community, not just our community, but the world. Yeah. We've got to change our approach to how we use devices with young children specifically. And I'm not even getting into social media and what that does with
it's horrifying. Bullying
and problems, that you see at the high school level. But even at the preschool level, man, they're addicted. They really are.
How young are you seeing? I mean, I don't suppose you're seeing kids coming in with devices that they have. Surely not. I mean, at that age.
Well, what we see is many times in the car rider line, they'll be holding the device in their car seat. Mm-hmm. We open the door to get them out in the mornings, and we have to pry it out of their hand, or mom has to pry it out of their hand, to get them to come in. Wow. And then in the afternoon, it's keyed up for 'em. It's queued up, like their
here you
favorite
go.
game, their favorite video, and is handed to them before they're buckled in, and that's just a habit. It's a dependency that families, adults, because again, I'm not casting stones.
Yeah, no,
I'm
me neither, 'cause
saying
I think I'd probably be right there with you.
sometimes when I have the second I have a free second, I'm picking up my phone. And if that's our go-to, then we have created the problem. Maybe we didn't know what we were doing at the time, because this is new. We have not had children start out as babies with access to devices. When my children, they're in college now.
Yeah.
They didn't have their first handheld device until 5th grade and 3rd grade. It was an iPod. The only way they could watch a video was if they were connected to Wi-Fi. So they couldn't watch YouTube while you're driving down the road.
Right.
But things have changed now.
Yeah. It's amazing. It is amazing. And I tell you, we've only down to 5 minutes. I got an ad I need to do, and I want to reset because I don't want us to forget to talk something you mentioned in the notes you said about absenteeism.
Yeah.
Which is just, we're trying so hard to get our kids just get them there, man. And some of this device stuff is the reason they're not sleeping. I know some of that. They're overstimulated. They can't sleep and all those things, and that's part of the problem with that absenteeism. But let's talk about that. But let me pause for a minute. I've been sitting here texting my friend Julie Bernard over at Bernard Farms Custom Cuts and Market, and just kind of getting the update on what she wants me to tell y'all about today. And I actually the family that is about to move to Robertson County, they're coming to Orlando. And I told him, I said, oh, you need to go meet Julie Bernard. And I got to tell them all about you, sis, and all the cool things that y'all have going on. I ask her, I always have to ask her, I said, okay, so what are you doing today, this week? They're cutting pork today, making sweet Italian sausage. You got Labor Day coming up, guys. So if you want to get the perfect thing for the grill, you got to get in there and get it while it's available, because, man, that fresh stuff goes so quickly. Now, you'll always have stuff in the freezer section, but those fresh cuts, that fresh cut pork they're going to do today, it's going to fly. So everybody's getting ready for Labor Day. And you also have got to get your Pasture to Plate tickets. That's coming up on the 19th of September. That's Friday night. And that is going to be everything there is going to be what they have raised and produced. And that's what you're going to enjoy. Pasture to Plate, it is a wonderful, wonderful time. And they've got Fall on the Farm. I told my friend yesterday that's going to be moving to Robertson County. I was telling them all about this, Julie. Fall on the Farm, because they got little ones, 9 to 3 p.m., and this is at 7536 Clay Gregory Road in Orlando. And that's, again, Saturday, October the 11th. You don't want to miss that. It's free. They got free hay rides, vendors, food trucks, live music, bounce house, corn pit, farm store. One of my first exposures to Bernard Farms, I had known Julie, but we went by during Experience Robertson County, and they had the corn pit and different things like that on the farm. This is before they had the farm store. But I've just fell in love with that family then, and just love talking about them. And continue to invite you to come out and be a part of all their fun fall stuff. Pasture to Plate dinner, September 19th, and then Fall on the Farm coming up on October the 11th. And get by there and get that fresh cut pork they're working on today. They'll have that sweet Italian sausage in the case tomorrow. And you can get ready for fall with all my friends over at Bernard Farms Custom Cuts and Market, and 7536 Clay Gregory Road. You can go by there and get breakfast this morning, get some lunch with them. They're open 7 to 4. Tuesday through Saturday right now. They're closed on Mondays and Sundays. They're just so busy with fall harvest and all the things. So they're open Tuesday through Saturday, 7 to 4. Tell them U-Turn sent you. All right, we've got to wrap this up, but let's talk about absenteeism. What say you? Sum it up for us.
It's a problem.
It's a problem. It's an enormous problem, guys.
It really is.
I don't really know why.
Well,
I really don't. Because, I mean, if your kids aren't at school, where are they? If you're working, where are your kids?
and don't you drive down the road sometimes and you see school-age children that are out, and you just think, is there a place you should be right now? You know, and it goes back to what are we prioritizing? We kind of talked about that with screen time. I think that when we experienced COVID, we developed some habits as a society. And I'm talking about adults. Developed some habits. Children developed some habits too, because they learned them. But we developed some habits. A lot of things changed. People started working from home more. Then companies realized, oh, well, this works for us and it's cheaper. You know, like we may not even have to have a brick and mortar place anymore to do the same kind of work. And that creates a child care issue. And so if I'm working at home, then let's not send them to a daycare or a preschool. Let's keep them here with us and maybe give them the device while I have the work meeting, 30 minutes turns into an hour, turns into 2 hours, turns into almost all day. But it also created the opposite of an urgency to be places and to be in a building, to be present.
Schedule.
Yeah. So I think that we're dealing with some residual effects of our habits that we developed during COVID, and even just the regulations that we faced, back then. But now that and it's hard to adjust again. Once you change something, it's hard to change again. Nobody desires change unless it's your idea. And so I think it really is about, if you peel back the onion, it's about priorities, but it's also about removing barriers. I'm an advocate for people that just don't have it the way everybody else has it. We have 7 classes of our 10 have children that are under the federal guideline, the income guidelines. The other 3 classes have at least 50% or 100% of children with disabilities. I'm an advocate for people who have barriers, and we need to have a dedication to removing those barriers. It goes back to sleep. All of our children are dependent on an adult to get them to school. They cannot do it themselves. They can't get up, get themselves ready, and come to school because they can't drive a car, and they can't even get on the bus by themselves because they're younger than kindergarten. They have to be signed on the bus by an adult. So I think, particularly for our school, it's a call to adults to say, how can we help you get your child to school in a car or on the bus? We're going to do a lot of things with them and help you out by bringing them in this program. It's going to be a great experience for your kids. We're going to work with you on that. But what else do you need? Like, what's keeping you from doing those 2 things? Getting in a car to get them, or putting them on the bus to get them there. It's way more complicated than that. And we can't do it. Teachers, school principals, attendance clerks cannot do it alone. We need social workers. We need people in the community. We need all the resources, that are out there to help a family. With the intentional buy-in that we are all just trying to make a better future for this family and this child.
Amen. We should have probably broached that subject a lot sooner because we're out of time. But it is just an incredible problem from pre-K to the 12th grade. And the seniors, I think, are really getting bad because they're like, I'm done, and they're checked out. But thank you so much. And God bless you. And I'm going to be excited to see if reaching out to the manufacturing facilities doesn't get your
I like that idea a lot. I'm taking that one back.
I think that might help. And I'll talk to Ilyu Maldonado about
okay.
on the Spanish side. But thank you.
Let's do it.
Jill Reeves, she is our principal at Bransford Early Learning School and Early Learning Coordinator for Robertson County. So important to get these kids started early, and so excited to see you again.
Thank you for having.
Yeah, absolutely, and just a great way to kick off the school year is starting to visit with our principals. And like I said, we're going to be doing that once a month. We had to double up some months because we have 22 of them. So thank you guys for joining us. Now tomorrow we'll be hearing from our VSO office. We'll have some folks coming in to talk to you about all things veterans, and we appreciate you being here. Have a wonderful day. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless.